Welcome to the AI Beehive podcast, Real Estate and Mortgage Pros. This is your buzz for smarter tech, faster deals, and less grind. Let's get started.
Well, hi there. Welcome to another episode of the AI Beehive podcast. My name is Ginger Bell, and I have with me today my co-host, George Chevalier. George, how are you?
Hello, everybody. Doing good. Clay, wow, it's great to have you here.
Yeah, thanks so much. I'm happy to be here. I was jamming to that intro. I love the music.
We had a fun time picking that out. It's like we wanted something that was,
Oh yeah, it's good.
So cool. Well, hey, thanks for hopping on. Just for our audience, which is mortgage and real estate space, you have an immense background in real estate and are a real estate coach, speaker, strategist, consultant, and all of that. So why don't you take just a few minutes and introduce yourself to our audience, and then we'll get started from there.
Oh, I'd be happy to. I really appreciate you guys having me on. I've done not everything in real estate, but a whole lot. So, I started during the mortgage crisis, kind of in the foreclosure space. I listed REO for a long time. I managed REO for a long time. And then kind of moved into having more of a retail brokerage role, and then property management, and most recently started a title company. Although I guess I can't say that because my coaching has been most recent. But just sort of my real estate background's pretty varied. The only thing I really haven't done much commercial. I haven't done lending, but outside of that, pretty broad experience. I also will never say I've seen it all, because when you say that, that's when the craziest thing happens the next day. So, but I've seen a lot, that's for sure.
Nice. Fantastic. Well, and that experience is so important to be able to have that. I love that you've worn a lot of different hats. And so, for our audience, we really like to just dive right into the element of AI.
Sure.
Because we've been playing around with it since really 2023, November 2023.
Right. Okay.
When we first got introduced to ChatGPT. I was using Jasper, which had a lot of elements of AI for a few years prior, because I do a lot of training development. So I write a lot of courses. And so, when ChatGPT came along, it's like, oh my gosh, this is insane. So when was that moment for you where you started getting into AI and you're like, wow, this is amazing?
I just love that question because I have an exact answer. I don't have I should look up the date because it's on my calendar, but I went to a conference and I saw two speakers speak, and it was a title sales training conference. There was more than two speakers, but two demonstrated AI. So one of the speakers was a guy named Tristan Amata, who is the admin of a Facebook group called Lab Code Agents.
Okay.
And he was talking to his phone, and it was talking back. Like he was talking to ChatGPT, and I'm like, man, this guy's some kind of wizard. And then and then the other guy was a gentleman named Sam Trimble, who's a coach or a speaker in the title space. And he demonstrated how they used AI to create a fake title company for Snoop Dogg.
Yeah.
And it was such a creative demonstration of everything, or I shouldn't say everything, but how broad the applications of AI are. And to think about it, that was around that same time you mentioned, November of 2023. But to think about how much it's evolved even since then, but just to have seen what it was capable of at that time was like, I just felt like they opened a wormhole in my brain. And from that point on, I've been obsessed with I've always been obsessed with shortcuts. I think it's because I'm kind of a little bit on I wouldn't say lazy, but I'm committed to doing a job well, right, all of those things, but I sure do want to do it in the most efficient way possible. And I think when I saw what AI could do, that like just triggered some explosion in my brain. And ever since then, I've been obsessed with how can I leverage this? And then that has transitioned into how can I show people I work with how they can leverage it in their businesses?
Very nice. AI is a hot topic, but many people they fear losing authenticity.
Oh yeah.
How do you, as a coach, coach your clients to maintain their voice while leveraging AI?
That is like the $1 million question, because there's such a huge difference between using AI and using AI well. And when you sort of hand over your control to the, not control is not the right word. If you're lazy about it, right? Not to use the, like if you're lazy with it, that it shows through. So if you go into chat and say, write me a listing description for 123 Main Street, it's going to write you a listing description for 123 Main Street. But what's really going to shine is if you go in and say, hey, can you write me a listing description for 123 Main Street? It's got beautiful brick fireplace like I have behind me. It has this, it has that. The thing I love about this neighborhood, like if you can infuse your voice, or even more important, like when you're doing like a blog or you're doing a social media post, aren't we sick of like, you can just tell when it reeks of Chat GPT. And I love AI, I love Chat GPT, so don't misread me, but I can tell, and I don't say me, the general public now can spot from a mile away the overly emojied, the M dashes, those giveaways that Chat GPT wrote your content. Here's the deal. And the other thing is that I don't know if you guys have noticed this, but on Facebook, if you post something, it'll say AI info under your name or whatever. It'll kind of try to highlight that it's AI info. I don't think that little tag is what turns people off. What turns people off is when there is no value and no voice in what you wrote. So what I encourage my clients to do is when you're writing with AI, make sure that you give it some meat to use. Like, the thing I love about it, what's made me more productive and creative with AI is before AI, I probably wrote 2 blogs in the course of 3 years. Now I write 2 a week, but I write them. I don't say, hey, chat, write me an article about, whatever. I say, I've built tools like custom GPTs and custom gems with my voice. But even then, I say, I want to write about 5 tips for first-time home buyers to avoid mistakes. Here are the tips that I typically give. Is a funny story about a first-time home buyer I worked with, etc. You might think, well, why not just write the blog? Well, because I don't have time to spell things right for good grammar. And actually, it's not true that I don't have time. I don't have the attention span. Now I can plug that in, and then it can help me. It's like a proofreader, editor, expander, co-author.
Right. Yeah, and that's
the
important.
difference.
It's like I had a company that I worked for years ago. I was their national training director, and we had a full-time editor. And I would develop things, I would write things, I wrote a lot of articles, industry articles, did a lot of training development, things like that. But then it would go to the editor, and the editor would give it that voice. And so those are things you have to think about. When you use it as an editor, as a proofreader, as putting more and fillers, things like that into it. So beginning with that base is important. And whether you're using it for listings, the other thing is not just your voice, but who is your audience?
Oh, yeah.
So
that's where we start. Yes, ma'am.
Exactly. Who is your audience? So who are you writing this for? Because it can be different. I love that you mentioned Snoop Dogg when we first started playing around with AI. And I remember the first time I was doing a training with a friend of mine, Scott Compton, Scott Shang, who was we were writing, how to get it to write in different voices. And the first one was to write a listing, and the audience was like, first time home buyers. We wanted it at, an understanding level of high school. So we didn't want it over complicated, didn't want a lot of jargon in there. And so we came up with something that was, very easy, very readable, all those things. And we said, okay, now write it as if the audience was a neuroscience engineer or whatever. And so completely changed it. Now it's using different words, right? And then the third one we did, write it in the voice of Snoop Dogg. And it
So
totally did that. It was like Snoop Dogg was reading it. So you have to remember, who is your audience? What is that voice?
Absolutely.
So, if you're getting into writing property, descriptions or listings, who would that be good for in terms of a property? If you have a smaller home that's going to be for a family, then write that's your audience.
Well,
So
I'll
they're going
tell
to relate
you, I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt. I
to it.
just, to piggyback on what you're saying, where I first, like when I start working with a client, we do two things right off the bat, and that is kind of establish who they are and then establish who their client is.
Yep.
And then we create kind of a small set of documents that I'd say keep a folder handy. And then when you're writing content, listing descriptions, et cetera, use that information as attachments to the conversation so that it informs chat or whatever tool you're using, your voice, who you're talking to. And the most important thing is not using, now you want it to come from your voice, but you want it to be in the language of your customer, not
Right.
your language, your customer's language.
Right.
A great example, I was working on a lead magnet for a client, and it was a really great little lead magnet. But as I was reading it, I'm like, nobody calls themselves a move up buyer. That's what we call them. But nobody says, oh, I'm a move up buyer, you know? And so I asked it to modify that, and it said, basically, households that are feeling the pinch of outgrowing their current space. Now that's language that resonates with a person living in a house built for 2 people with 7 people or 4 people or whatever. They'll be like, oh, that's me. And that's what you want them to feel when they see your content.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you can create your own, like you talked about, creating
Yeah.
custom GPTs within ChatGPT. If you are familiar with doing that, or you have someone who can do that, you can create those custom GPTs that is for
Absolutely.
that audience. So if
Mhm.
you don't want to have to keep that folder, you can go in and you can create your, first time home buyers. You can, create
Yep.
your, investment buyers. You can create all of those to
Yeah,
where
I would highly encourage people to do that because it's not nearly as hard as you think it is. It's custom instructions and knowledge files. That's it. And if you don't know how to do it, ask chat. Or I'll be honest, I just got off a call training for Google Gems. And over the last couple of weeks, and if for anybody that's not familiar, Gems are Google's version of custom GPTs.
nice.
Yeah. And so for the last few weeks, I probably spend 5% of my time on AI and chat anymore. I'm almost completely in Google. And the gems, there are a number of aspects of them that make them a little more powerful than GPTs, but
Right.
like anything else, there's some pluses and minuses.
Mhm.
Long story short, it's so much easier to build a custom AI tool than you think. And
Mhm.
the way to learn, you can obviously YouTube videos, et cetera, but you can always ask your tool. I typically design my custom tools using an AI, saying, hey, walk me through this process, and it'll help you make those custom instructions and tell you what knowledge documents it needs.
I love it.
Yeah. Getting back to what you were talking about a little
Sure.
earlier, one reoccurring issue that I see with agents is that their marketing, it feels fragmented or inconsistent. And when you audit, let's say a marketing funnel or something like that, what's the most common breakdown you spot?
Are you reading my mind? Okay. Are you reading my mind right now?
Hey, great minds
That's
think alike.
that is exactly where I start with people. I said we establish who they are. Before we even start on an engagement, I audit their marketing presence. And George, would you like to know what the most common issue I find is? So the most common issue that I find is it's exactly what you said, that they have marketing, but they don't have a marketing strategy. And I don't feel bad pointing that finger at people because guess what? I was right there with them for years and years as a business owner. I'm a smart business owner and I know how to save myself money by doing things myself, George. So what I ended up with was a just completely disjointed marketing. I can't use the word strategy, marketing spaghetti wall where I just threw things at the wall. It was like, oh, little Timmy down the street's doing X type of marketing, then I need to do that type of marketing. And Sally's being super successful, so I need to go do what she's doing. But nothing was coherent. So the first thing I see is that they lack a strategy. Like people will say, oh yeah, I'm on social media. And yes, they are. And they are doing important things, but they don't have a strategy. So they're on there and they're posting their listings, they're posting their open houses, they're posting their closings. They should do that. But that should be a small part of a larger strategy that includes pieces of value that position them as the expert that can answer the pain points and problems of their client. And even when they're posting listings and open houses and just sold, everything has the opportunity to say, hey, I just got this new listing. I was just talking to a client. She's got a new listing on a lake here in town, and it's got a lot of history. And she's like, man, I've learned so much. And so she's going to turn that into, when she posts the listing, content pieces about the history of the lake. She's going to have and she was telling me how she was going to stage the house with books that tell the history of, and I'm like, that is brilliant. And that's something that you can use not just with attracting buyers and sellers, but put it in agent forums where people might think, oh, that's somebody I'd like to do business with and refer. And that's the other thing, is like, they need to think about, where are their clients hanging out? Let me go there and post things of value, not promotion, things of value, and then have them come back to me. I'll give you, so for the people that are listening, watching, whatever, there's 3 things every piece of content should have. It should have a goal. Before you post it, are you trying to attract people to you? Are you trying to create, have them book a meeting? Are you trying to have them follow you? Know what your goal is. The second and most important thing is, it should be focused on providing value to your ideal client. It shouldn't be about how great you are. It shouldn't be about how much you sold. It shouldn't be about you in any manner. It should say, I know you have a problem. Here is how that problem gets solved. Here's a piece of value to help you solve that problem. And then the third thing, and this is the most critical piece that tends to be missing, a call to action. Marketing is nothing more than trying to move someone from where they are to where you want them. So if you're at a restaurant and you're trying to tell someone, how do they get to you? First, you got to know where they are, which is what we talked about, knowing who your ideal client is and kind of, where are they currently? Then you have to know the path that they're going to take to get from where they are to where you are. And then third, you got to give them direction at each step. So like, if you were to say, hey, go to Main Street and First Avenue's intersection, but then you don't say what to do, then they're going to be stuck at First and Main. That's just like posting a piece of content that somebody says, man, this Clay guy is super interesting, but I have no clue how to connect with him. How do I find him? What am I supposed to do next? So every piece of content should have a call to action that matches the stage that the content is in. Meaning, if it's an awareness stage, typically your social media is kind of in that awareness funnel stage. You're not ready to ask them to marry you. You just want to get to know each other a little bit better. So what you should be asking them to do is follow you, connect with your profile, real soft call to action. And then you get progressively stronger. I'm really sorry if this interview is me just spouting information at you guys. Just stop me, okay? And then I'll answer questions.
No,
I
it's
promise.
perfect. I mean, those are
good.
the things.
Yeah.
And those are the kind of things, you talked about them having a marketing strategy, having a marketing plan. And that's something that AI can help you to do
Absolutely.
that. So putting in, what are your goals? What is it that you want to be able to accomplish? And having all those things. Here's the thing that I see, one of the benefits of AI, it allows you to do more in your marketing with less. And I love that you talk about, you're the person that's going to, I'm going to save money, and I'm going to be the one that's going to do it. And that so many people do that. And it's like, okay, if you're going to do that, fine, then create systems.
Yes.
Create the systems, be efficient. And then, Dan Sullivan has a book that I love, If Not You, Then Who? And look at, okay, where are the places that you can outsource where it makes sense? But using AI to be able to create that strategy and create that plan.
Absolutely.
Those are that's the beginning point. That's where honestly, I think people should begin, because with AI, you can have the blogs. I mean, you talked about, you used to write, blog article, once a week, once every, month,
once a year.
Once a year. And with AI, now you're writing 2 articles a week.
Yep.
So those are the things, it's like, okay. And those are the things that get rewarded over time. Consistency
Absolutely.
always is awarded, but it has to be consistent. So even if you don't have much of a strategy, if you have consistency, at least you're filling in. And then I love the call to action. I mean, having that call to action is so important. So many times I've seen people they've had this whole great strategy on TikTok, videos, crazy, followings, all this other kind of stuff. And then they'll get the message, hey, thanks for helping me buy my first house. It's like, I didn't help you buy your first house. No, all those videos. It's like, well, do you know I can help you with that?
Right.
Well, they
That's
never
right.
said, call me.
Exactly. That's exactly right.
So
Yeah,
I love that.
absolutely.
So we're at the part where I know George loves to get into his rapid fire. So
Let's do it.
Are you
Yes.
ready, George?
Yes, I'm ready. I'm ready.
Wait, aren't I the one that needs to be ready?
Yes, get ready. So
I'm
here we
ready.
go. What's one software or tool, software or app that you use every single day to stay efficient?
Google Gemini, 100%. It's so versatile. So yeah, it's Google Gemini. So many different things you can do in there.
All right. All right, good. So if someone asked you tomorrow, what's the one habit that separated your successful clients, what would you say?
Well, Ginger mentioned it before. It's consistency. I used to think, man, I wish I was more motivated to do things. Motivation's a sucker's game. It's all about consistency, discipline, and systems. The people that are the most effective are disciplined, and the people that are the most disciplined are systematic.
All right. I like it.
I need to write that down. Nobody else said that. That just came to mind. Trademark Clay Lehman.
That's a
Okay.
Clayism. That's a Clayism. I heard
There you
it.
go.
Yep. So next, AI. Overhyped, underhyped, or exactly right where it should be? What's your thought on this?
That's a great question. I would say it's exactly hyped where it should be. Some aspects of it are underhyped and some aspects of it are overhyped. I think the hype, it's really not even hype anymore. It is here. It's legit. It's here to stay. It's going to transform our way of working. So I don't think it's overhyped. I think it's appropriately hyped, and then just aspects are off balance in terms of what's hyped.
All right. Last question.
Okay.
What one thing people would be surprised to know about you besides what you've already shared with us today?
Okay. Despite the fact that I am educated and a professional, I love professional wrestling. So there you go. Now I spent all this time building credibility and in one sentence destroyed it.
Hey, that's okay. That's okay. Thank you, Clay.
Oh no, I love it. Thank you.
Absolutely. So and the wrestling thing, I mean, we all got to have those things to let the energy off, to get that release,
Well,
everything.
not for nothing, my 12-year-old daughter, who really tolerates it more than I would say enjoys it. She like we went to an event recently, and it's just such a great time for us to hang out and have fun. And we don't go to cheer the good guys; we go to boo the bad guys, and so that's what we have fun doing.
I love it. I love it. Well, very good. So first of all, thank you, Clay. I mean,
Oh,
we
sure.
could go on for another 30 minutes here. We like to keep it around under 30 minutes for our listeners. But for those who are listening, how can they get in touch with you, and why would they get in touch with you?
Why? Let's see. I've taken a deep dive into AI. And my approach is learn, do, teach. So, and I stole that from Dan Martell, Buy Back Your Time, one of my favorite books. But the way I look at it is I love to learn, I love to do, and nothing solidifies my learning more than teaching. And so I've done that I have a Facebook community that's called Unstuck AI for real estate agents and entrepreneurs. It's a long name. If you just type in Unstuck AI, it's there. I also have my website, www.imclaylehman.com. And we're launching a school community soon, but I would love to connect with people. And then in terms of why, I love to learn, and I've been told that I convey things in an understandable manner. As I was sharing with you guys before we started, the way I approach teaching is I'm going to teach you about AI, but the first thing I'm going to teach you about are the fundamentals of whatever it is I'm teaching. If I'm teaching you about business development, I'm going to teach you the why, the how, the what, and then I'm going to teach you how to do that with AI. So, I think that's really what I try to bring that's a little different, is making sure that you understand the fundamentals, because tech changes but the fundamentals remain the same. So as long as you understand those, then you'll learn how to apply tech to the fundamentals and not be lost when the tech changes.
Very nice. Very
I
nice.
love it. Well, we'll have to make sure and join your communities.
Please.
I love the Facebook groups. So that's really cool. You'll have to make sure and share our AI Beehive directory. And if
Absolutely.
you know of any other, great tools, we have, I don't even know how much we have several hundred on there now.
Yes.
But our focus is on real estate and mortgage.
Sure.
There's a lot of great AI tools for real estate. So for our listeners, make sure and hop over there, make sure and connect with Clay, get connected with what he's doing. And that's what I'm loving about everything that's happening is it's giving us a new reason to connect again and to have these
Agreed.
conversations.
Absolutely.
And so I appreciate you for hopping on, for all you're doing. For our listeners, make sure and tune in to our next podcast. George, thank you so much.
Pleasure's
And
all mine.
we'll see you on an upcoming podcast. Make sure and subscribe, like, and hop over to the AI Beehive directory at aibeehive.com. So thanks, guys. We'll see you on the next episode.
Thank you.
Thanks for tuning in to the AI Beehive podcast, where real estate and mortgage pros get the buzz on all things AI. Don't forget to subscribe, share the buzz, and visit www.aibeehive.com to keep building your smarter business. Until next time.